We good? Is it? Can you go live with it? Oh, it's live? Sweet. All right, everybody. Welcome to the STP Podcast Network Spotlight. I am Trent Denson, the founder of Spread the Positive, and got a really awesome group of people up here with me that have been part of the STP Podcast Network for a while now. Just wanted to take a second, give them a little platform to share their story, what it's been like to do their podcast, and all of the things that kind of come with it. For those of you that don't know, Spread the Positive, the mission is to bring light to what's going right and to showcase and facilitate efforts that are making a positive impact in our local communities and beyond. I've been working on this concept for quite a while, and it's really exciting where we're at with everything that's going on. Definitely have to give a big shout out to my guy, Jonathan Harmon, running the bar back there. Hey, good. Yes, sir. This amazing space, Cedar Glade Brews, man. Very blessed to be next door with the studio next door, Spread the Positive Studios next door. And then obviously we have this amazing tap room to do cool things like this. So just super blessed to be here with all of y'all, and just wanted to, again, take a second to let people share their podcasting journey and let people know the power of podcasting and what it can do for you personally and professionally. So without further ado, last time I kind of did intros for everybody. I want to let them do it for themselves. Let's start over here. Love you, Staci. Thank you. Hey there. So yeah, Staci with Waves of Awareness. If you could just give us a brief intro real quick.
Yeah, so I am Staci Davis. I'm with the podcast Waves of Awareness. It's a Waves Inc. podcast through Spread the Positive. We support individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and our podcast features an adult that we support on every single episode. They co-host with Trent.
So fun. Not picking favorites by any means, but
we're the favorite.
Waves of Awareness.
We're a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everybody.
Sorry, guys.
No, but it has been amazing, Staci. It's been a fun journey. We'll definitely get into it a little further here in a second. But yeah, man, Waves of Awareness, definitely a powerful tool for your nonprofit and all the things that y'all are doing. So it's been such a blessing to be part of that. And let's keep it moving. Miss Brandi Mosby.
Oh, it is working now. Okay.
There she is.
Hi, I'm Brandi Mosby. My podcast is Unapologetically Me. I started it during COVID. Part of that reason was because I saw people unable to have effective conversations and be able to communicate with each other about their differences and disagreements. And so I just wanted to showcase how you can have conversations, get your point across, understand that people have different perspectives, and not be friends at the end of it or have a big blow up argument and fight. I don't know if I still am, but I was the redheaded stepchild of Spread the Positive because I wasn't necessarily bringing actual positive things in that aspect. So
that's kind of fake news in my opinion, because that's what this whole platform is all about. Recognizing differences, having those difficult conversations, and being human beings about it. And that when we first talked about it, there was a slight hesitation there because you used the word controversial, and that's one of those things I always tried to kind of steer away from. But after seeing the way you navigated very difficult conversations and yeah, exactly. And I think it's actually a very, very a great fit for everything we're about here at the network. It's been really fun. Jonathan stepped in on a couple of episodes talking about parenting and some stuff that might come up, and we've had our conversations too. And it always leaves you feeling better, which is ultimately Spread the Positive. So definitely not the stepchild. We love you, Brandi. Thank you for doing that. Honestly, I think that's something to celebrate. Like tackling those difficult conversations is something to celebrate, and something we need more of. So without further ado, everybody's favorite locally owned duo, Marisa in the building. Marisa, Cali, and Missy with the locally owned Murfreesboro podcast. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Marisa, and this is Missy. And together we are
Marisi. If y'all aren't familiar, get familiar.
I am a business owner, and I really love the power of story. I also support local businesses, so that kind of spawned a conversation with Missy, and Missy also supports local businesses, which I'll let you talk in a little bit. And so that was kind of the idea behind doing our locally owned Murfreesboro podcast, where we get to talk to locally owned business owners like our
Mr.
number
Shirley.
one fan here, who came in and was really fanboying out about being on our podcast. So yeah, it's a fun time, and I'll let you see. So I'm Missy Lay, and I am the current president of Locally Owned Murfreesboro, which is a 501c6 that our mission is to support local business and business owners through three things: networking and referrals, government and media relations, and marketing. And what better way to market a small business than to have a small business owner tell their story? So we've had several episodes, but in every episode, I'm a firm believer that everyone has a story if they just are given us a chance to tell it. And we learned about how the Alley on Main got started. We learned about how, this fun guy created the No Fear shelter, or the No Fear vet office, and all of that stuff. So it's very interesting to me to see they come to life when they tell their why. And that's the most exciting part for me. And then, of course, supporting local everything.
And we're twinning it up.
Hashtag
Twinning it up
support
on
local
stage
everything.
Can't win them all.
So we are 140 members strong, and I know that there's, 500-600 more people out there who own small businesses. And membership is free, and then we have a premium membership that's $50 a year, where we help market your business. So we just love telling stories and getting to know all of the amazing families that own businesses in our town.
It's amazing. The Lawn Pod has been so much fun already, and we've definitely had some memorable moments, and it's just been, like they said, it's a powerful tool for local business owners, and a lot of there's a lot of power in just getting on a microphone and telling your story. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Michael Shirley with Family Pet Health and the Family Pet Podcast. Go ahead, man. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Michael Shirley. My wife, Dr. Amy Shirley, and I own Family Pet Health, which is a Rutherford County's only fear-free certified vet hospital. We're located out on Manchester Highway, just a mile off of Rutherford Boulevard.
Nice.
And we bought an existing clinic in 2018, so we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary, and we've grown from just my wife. Thank you. We've grown from just my wife as being the only doctor to we now have 3 full-time doctors and 1 part-time doctor and a team of 16. And we hope to be breaking ground on a new vet hospital this August to open in June. And I actually found my contractor through Spread the Positive podcast, and that's the Dow Smith Company. And so I got to learn more about that company through their telling of their story through their podcast, which made me feel a lot better about spending the amount of money that we're going to be spending with them. And that really was not the beginning of our desire to start a podcast. Like, I think we'll talk maybe more about that, but it's the same thing. Like we use our podcast to educate our clients before they come into our exam room. And we call it the Family Pet Podcast because we do want to have national outreach where people can, basically it's all the frequently asked questions that are on our website, and we just have made them into long form podcasts that last about 20 to 25 minutes, which is how long it takes to walk your dog around the block. So that's how we did that.
So good. And big shout out to Dow Smith. I can't wait to see the new facility. That's going to be incredible.
I can't wait either.
I bet. But thank you, Michael. Thank you for being part of the network, for reaching out, for believing in the cause and all of that. So, I guess that's the whole platform, or the whole reason for these network spotlights. I think there's a lot of power in podcasting. Obviously, I'm quite a bit biased, but when it comes to, it can be a veterinarian office, it can be a nonprofit, it can be a solopreneur telling their coaching story, it can be just people wanting to showcase local business owners and network. I mean, that was Marisa's, not speaking for you or anything, but that was one of your, being a newer person to town, you wanted to connect with folks, get out there. So that's the whole point of this whole thing. And I think podcasting might get a reputation of being saturated, or it might not be for me because I won't have a massive audience. And I just want to encourage anybody, if you've ever had any type of interest at all in podcasting, to take that leap. It's changed my life in so many ways, and something that I just truly believe in. There's something really powerful about being in someone's ear. There's obviously a lot of production in podcasting nowadays, and visually, aesthetically pleasing things, but there's something really powerful about being right in someone's ear. If you're driving down the road and you're hearing Michael Shirley tell a story about why they took that leap, why they did the things they did to acquire an existing veterinarian office, and now they're literally just telling their story day in, day out about why they do what they do and all that. There's a lot of power behind that. So do want to dive in deeper to all that, and just I think what it always comes back to for me is the why and impact, and it's something I've been developing for a long time, and this network has taken a long time to kind of come together the way it has. And there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of figuring it out, and a lot of messing up, and a lot of not pushing the right button at the right time. It shouldn't be that funny. It should not be that funny. But anyway, it's been a journey, needless to say. But what this whole thing really represents is just truly telling your why. And I think if we all step back and really look at what our why really is, that's what it always comes back to. So I'll get off my soapbox for a second, but I just wanted to lay that foundation, and just kind of, I wanted for the tens and tens of people in this room, I wanted y'all to really understand that, like, it could be the most niche thing ever. You talk about niche, Dow Smith, Dow Smith and his whole thing, and just being able to, it's a commercial contracting podcast. What's not going to be at the top of the charts? A commercial contracting podcast.
But I have listened to every episode, and I get alerts when they come out with new ones.
That's awesome, man. I've actually really missed doing it. They're so busy that they're taking a little hiatus, but that is what this whole network is about. The mission is about, and just raising awareness about podcasting in general. So let's take it back to Waves real quick. Staci, where did it start for you, and what's it been like, I guess? Can you just kind of take us through? I know y'all, we've had a lot of talks before we even pushed record. There was a lot of practice runs, to say the least. But just take us through that process and what it's been like for Waves and how y'all kind of utilized it.
Okay. So the whole mission at Waves is to empower the people that we support to progress towards their full potential. I love listening to podcasts, and I noticed that as I listened to podcasts, you didn't hear a lot of the voices of the people that we support. Actually, you heard none. You don't hear a lot of the voices of people with disabilities talking about the things that they're interested in about their lives. And so I had this dream to create a platform where the folks that we support would be able to share their voice and share their story with whoever wanted to listen. And so, strangely enough, at a Sounds baseball game.
Shouts to Joshua Rosales, Breakthrough Nashville, First Horizon
for giving a lot of nonprofits tickets
right behind
to a
home
game.
base. That was a special night, man.
Yeah, they had a nonprofit networking group at a Sounds game, and I was there, and Trent was there, and he said podcast, and I said I have an idea, and he said let's go, and we did.
That was it.
He was in my office like the next day, and so it's been a lot of fun, and one of the concepts that we have with our whole podcast is that we don't want our folks to just share their stories, because 100% of the people that we support are not verbal. So they can't share their story on a mic, but they can share their story in other ways, or they can learn different skills. And so we are putting together a piece to where anybody that we support, if they want to learn how to do anything with a podcast, we're going to teach them those skills. And Trent's going to do some training, and he's going to help them learn how to put together the podcast. We've been fortunate to be able to get grant dollars to help pay for all of our podcasting. So we've been able to purchase a traveling studio similar to what Trent has, so that we can go and we can do all these things with our folks in all of the different settings. So if they can't show up on Wednesdays at 1:30 when we record, we can take it to them anytime during the week, so that they can practice their skills and develop those skills. And if they want to get a job that has to do with something with the podcasting world or any kind of electronics, we're going to be able to provide that kind of training for them. And it's real life, hands-on training that they'll be able to get. But they're also just...
It's so fun.
It's so fun. They're also able just to share their skills with us too. We've got this one guy, he absolutely loves to sing. Season 1, he... with
Love Can Build a Bridge.
Yeah, he loves Love Can Build a Bridge. And we had a singer-songwriter from Nashville come in and sing some songs with him. And actually they're going to record tomorrow, and I think they're supposed to write a song together. So look out for that in season 2.
Man. Yes.
So it's been a lot of fun, because it's a whole nother platform and arena for us to be able to tell our story, but tell our story in a way to where our folks that we support are the ones who are telling it. It's not me being the marketing and public relations face of the organization. It's our actual folks that we support. They're able to share what's going on in their lives, what they're excited about, how they did it at Special Olympics, all the different things that they're getting into on a daily basis. They're able to share that. And it's just so fun to see them develop their skills and really fall in love with being able to tell their story to more people than just staff.
Yeah, right. No, that's so good. And it's been just such a joy. I mean, again, just can't reiterate it enough. And that's something near and dear to my heart. It's been something near and dear to my heart for a long time. But yeah, it's so fun to, you get the Johnny Sunshines and the Matt Manmores and the Eric Wilsons just coming to life on a microphone. And we've had certain conversations where where did this come from? And they just...
I will share this one story.
So
ahead. We've got this one guy, he loves the podcast. He tells me every week, I'll be back next week. And I'm like, yes, you will. We'll see you next week. And his mom is the executive director for the ARC of Davidson County. And so she came in, we had her on as a guest one week. And the whole, leading up to it, our staff had been telling her, you're not going to recognize Matt. You're just not going to. And she was like, yeah, whatever. She sat down. Matt would not stop talking. He was just no, just going on and on about everything that he had going on in his life. And his mom just sat there and was like, who is that? How is this my son? This is crazy. And so being able to open those doors, it's been so fun, because you never know what's going to happen. Or what's going to be said.
Oh, that is definitely true, and it's really fun and very funny at times as well. Dude, it's awesome. All right, so yeah, let's keep it moving. Brandi, you had started your podcast, right? And a few episodes in, blah blah blah, and it just kind of got a little overwhelming, right? Okay, talk to me. How is that part of being part of the network kind of helped you?
Yeah, so I started my podcast. I was listening to another podcast, and the girl was talking about how we're always saying that we want to do something, but it has to be perfect. And so we keep putting it off until it can be perfect. I'm not going to do this until I have it perfect, until I have everything figured out and lined out. And she was talking about starting her podcast, and she's like, one day I just bought the mic and I just started. And I was like, okay, so let me just buy a mic and just start. So I bought a mic from Amazon, and I had no idea what I was doing, and YouTube and Google like helped me figure out how to put the stuff together. It sounds horrible. It sounds very like if you listen to the first few episodes and then you listen to the ones with Trent, like you can tell a big difference of like how I sound so far away, and like it's a disaster.
Hey,
but
you started though. You started.
That was my thing. I'm like, I just have to start.
You started.
So, and I was very inconsistent. It would be like, okay, let me record a podcast. And then like a month later, like, oh, I think I'll record one today. And so part of getting with Trent was like, if I have a scheduled time, like I will go every Tuesday at this time and it will be consistent. And so that helped a lot too. And then life happened again. So I got back inconsistent. But it was a lot more consistent with Trent than when I did it by myself.
Fair enough. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun working with Brandi. Her whole mission and her approach to the way she does things is if y'all need help with anything fitness, nutrition, just honestly communication, like that's your main thing, right? Like not your main thing, but like communication's like top 3.
Yeah, so communication is like the top 3. So right before COVID happened, I had just got certified in health and life coaching. So I was coaching in relationships, I was coaching on health, and that was the other part of my thing. I had already taken a couple of my clients through communication coaching, and one of them was my brother. He got married last year, and his wife was like, I owe your sister everything because I've never had anybody communicate with me the way that you do. And my whole thing, even with the podcast, was like, I did this one thing that afterwards I saw everybody else doing it, and I was like, I can't believe I did that. But I got into an argument with somebody on Facebook, and it was an actual friend. Like, it was somebody that I had known. But we got in an argument over something. It was relevant, but it wasn't like something for us to not be friends over. And I was in the heat of the moment, I unfriended her. And I've never friended her again because I didn't want to look stupid. So I was like, I'm not going to go back and friend her again. But like in that moment, I was like, I shouldn't have done that, because you should be able to, like, if you're in a relationship, some people do it. They probably need communication out, but you should not. If you're in a relationship, you don't get to get in an argument and then be like, okay, we're breaking up or we're getting a divorce because I don't agree with you. Like, that's not how life should work. And so that's also what made me want to be like, we can have disagreements. We don't have to. I've had people on the podcast where we've talked about racial issues and we disagreed. I've had 2 Bottles Deep. If you guys don't know who they are, they're the 2 gay guys with their podcast. We talked about homosexuality on my podcast, and like in-depth conversations and the funny thing is that there was things that they disagreed on, and people don't think about that. They put you in a box and they're like, well, you're all Black or you're all women or you're all LGBTQ, so you all think the same way. And that's like the farthest thing from the truth. So having even those different perspectives on their end was like probably the most interesting ones that I've done, because I was just mind blown of like, yeah, like not the fact like y'all don't agree, but just to hear their perspective on like LGBTQ issues. Like it was really interesting.
That's awesome. Again, just what this whole platform is all about, agreeing to disagree, understanding different perspectives, learning different, or just hearing from other people that are from different walks of life. I think that's what this, like most of the hurt in the world is from a lack of understanding and a lack of perspective from other people. So yeah, that's what it's all about. And yeah, I love that so much. And it's so funny how different Wes and Philip both are. They are so different, but it's amazing. So, all right, we've gotten into a little bit of LOM, but let's take it back to the beginning. Let's take it back to some of our first conversations and just honestly how y'all came to be friends and the way y'all are such good friends now. Get out of here. That is just fake news.
We're besties.
Yay, there you go. But literally, like someone that grew up here, Murfreesboro, isn't that what you call it?
Murfreesboro.
And then, literally San Diego. Talk about different worlds and different everything, but y'all have come together and have a common goal, and just take us through that whole process.
Gotcha. So she loves to hear me say this, but I was born on vacation. So
say that every
I'm
time.
4 days shy of being born and raised here. So I went all the way to Nashville for school. So yeah, I'm a lifer. But so I consider myself an OG, and I call her the new G.
Yep.
Because she moved August August 12th, 2021. And so we met, like I had told Trent that I wanted to do something about, supporting the local businesses. And I wanted to call it the Murfreesboro Mafia. The people you need to know. No. Yeah, they're like, well, wait a minute.
I mean, we get it. But.
Yeah, so the connotation's a little off. No. Anyway, so he was like, hey, I've got this person I want you to meet. And we met at Simply Pure Sweets on November 16th and December 1st.
I was about to say, man, that's some very specific memories.
It's our friend-iversary. I know it. So, November 16th and December 1st, we met and planned our first few episodes. So, yeah.
That was fun.
So, yeah. So, OG, new G.
I want to add something. It's okay. So we both believe in supporting local businesses, and that was because I work from home. It was very important for me to get out into the community and talk to people. But in addition to that, I've formed friendships here in town, which I think help also support other local businesses. And my husband was out of town for when I got my wisdom teeth out, and Missy drove me to the orthodontist and picked me up.
That's love.
And stayed with me. And then Trent brought me soup from Demos, which is like amazing. Yep. Is that how you say it? I don't know.
Demas.
She's
from out of town.
I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Yeah, you
Grady
did.
Brought you coffee.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's it's one of the missions. We're supporting local businesses, but also building upon friendships and relationships in town, which I think are super important. And we have a lot of fun, which I think is one of the main reasons why we podcast.
Well, and the interesting thing is that every time we have a podcast, we then have to have a field trip. Right. So, like we've made candles at the Float Alchemy Candle Shop. I actually, when I was in a time of crisis, I contacted my friend from Family Good Health. And if you don't know it, there's a guy in town who repairs shoes in his house. Like, he's the most amazing guy.
Nizzy Nick.
Yeah, Nick with Soul Clinic. And if you
That's
got Air
next
Jordans
week's
and you
episode.
need them repaired,
It's my
he can get you
favorite
a donor
Instagram
pair.
follower.
Like, I went into a rabbit hole on sneaker culture.
Me too.
But there's just so many cool stories. Like, there's a girl in town who dresses up as princesses and makes your life amazing. Like, birthday parties, sure, but like, why not hang out with Ariel from it's like a dream come true.
You get a little.
That's right. Who knew?
Get a little Elsa. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's enough time. Anyway.
Grass is always greener. But anyway, there's, we one of the things that I take pride in is that, as I said, I grew up here. If we couldn't get what we needed at Holden's Hardware or AG Sporting Goods, it didn't happen. It didn't exist.
Deep-rooted.
I was raised when we would travel, which was very rarely, we wouldn't go to your chains. We would find, the local dive places, in his opinion, because they were cheaper. But, it means so much. And the interesting thing is now that I travel, like, my family just knows. We pulled into Tulsa, Oklahoma. My husband's like, look, I've already researched. There's 2 pizza places we're going to try. And I'm like, score.
Let's go.
And then while they're waiting on the pizza, I'm checking out the shops next door. And,
Nice.
And it's just so cool to see the community. Like, you don't walk into a Walmart and people are like, hey, what's up? It doesn't happen. But when you walk into a locally owned store, they're like, hey, what can we help you with? And we joke about customers become friends. So, when we interview somebody, they're friends, and we find ways to support them. And I know I've been fortunate enough to say, hey, you need to check this person out, or I got just the person for you. And it's all 68% of all money spent in a locally owned business stays in our community.
That's awesome.
So when roads need to be expanded and your kids' team needs a sponsor on the back of their shirt, you don't ask Amazon, you don't ask Walmart. You go to these locally owned businesses, and they are all about it. So we just love to give them that opportunity to tell that story, because that's where the connection is they're like, I didn't know that place existed. Well, now you do.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And Michael, man, what I really appreciate about the Family Pet Podcast is it's super super niche, the way you found it was super niche, and just the power in that, right? I think that's something to really celebrate for those people that might have a very obscure passion project or a very obscure occupation, whatever it might be. Just talk to us about how the Family Pet Podcast has helped you personally and professionally, and like how people could maybe tailor that to their lives.
Well, for us, going back to the purpose of why we wanted to create a podcast, much like what you spoke on, that there wasn't a podcast that filled that niche already. So there are lots of podcasts out there for veterinary professionals teaching other veterinary professionals, but there are not very many podcasts out there from a veterinary office teaching pet owners. So the Family Pet Podcast is a podcast for curious pet parents, because we believe that the more that you know about pet healthcare, the better pet parent you can be.
I've heard you say that.
We say it. It's a lot of P's. That's right.
All the P's.
A lot of. So that's right. Yeah. So the whole podcast is geared on educating clients on the why behind the recommendations that they're getting in the vet office. Many people complain that it's impersonal. They show up, they check in, they give the same history to 3 different people. The doctor comes in, sees them for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then they're out the door. And then the technician or veterinary assistant finishes up the appointment, and then they're out the door.
Yep.
So, and they leave not understanding the value of what just happened. And what we want is that we don't have enough time to tell every single person that comes into the appointment the why behind flea and tick prevention, heartworm prevention, ear cytologies, all these different things that we're on episode 16 of our podcast, and each one is about 20 minutes long. Well, that is a conversation that could happen in the exam room, but it certainly couldn't last that long. And so the podcast gives us a way that if we're talking about blood work, we recommend that you do blood work on your pet. The podcast explains the why behind it, and it gives you the details that help you better understand about why does this cost $160? Because, or what skills does a licensed veterinary technician have that you should trust that person to take your pet and stick a needle right in its neck, right?
Yeah, right.
Because we do that in front of the client. So a lot of places don't. They'll take them to the back. And our podcast talks about why we don't do that. But at any rate, our podcast is there to educate our clients. What we have seen professionally is that it gives us it's evergreen content. So it's there forever on Spotify or Apple or wherever you like your podcast, wherever you like to download your podcast. Please leave a review and like and share.
Leave a 5-star review
and subscribe. Family Pet Podcast. But it's out there forever. We can, if someone's on the fence about blood work, I just don't really know, and we're like, hey, look, that's fine. We recommend it, but if you're not ready, that's okay. We'll be here when you are. Let us email you a link to our podcast that we recorded, and we'll also include our blog that we wrote about blood work as well, and the videos that we've made that are on YouTube that you can watch of us do a blood draw. Yeah, and we send all of that ahead of time. We send all of that to the client ahead of time. They can digest it whenever they're from sitting on the commode watching YouTube videos to waiting in the car pickup line. They might see that email and watch that video. So the next time they come in to Family Pet Health and we make that recommendation, they're like, oh yeah, I'm ready to do blood work. I listened to the podcast about that.
That's so right. Good.
And they're like, you're going to hit the jugular vein. I know it's the jugular vein because I listened to your podcast and I watched the video and I read about it. So they become informed, which makes them feel a lot better about spending the money. And the most important part is that we say the more you know about veterinary care. So we're educating and empowering them, and we have a segment every session. We have a segment that says this is the fun fact, the thing that will help you win trivia night at the pub when they have trivia night down here at Cedar Glade Brewery.
Sunday nights, by the way.
So if they ask about some random question about giraffes have 7 vertebrae in their neck, just like you do. What? That's crazy.
That's so crazy.
I learned about that on the Family Pet Podcast. You should check it out. So that's something that we do. So it's really more about, we do share our story. That is important.
Right.
But that is not the focus of our podcast, is to make our clients the hero of the veterinary care for their pet. We're just the guide.
I love that. That's so cool. Just the power and those links. Those links are powerful. If there's any like prospecting, or if you have somebody you're trying to get on the podcast, like, hey, can you come speak about XYZ? It's a lot easier than saying, hey, can I pick your brain? But anyway, also got one surprise for everybody. My girl Annette McNamara is in the building. Please give her a round of applause. Hey, come sit next to Staci real quick. So Annette has a nonprofit that she started called Beautiful Strength. It's an incredible organization and operation. We've had the privilege of doing her podcast for quite a while, and we've connected, done a lot of collaborative efforts over the past couple of years. And long story short, she's converted a school bus into she's got before and afters. It's incredible. But Atticus, the school bus, has come to life, and the grit and determination and everything that Annette has done is so crazy. And I'm just, it's always so great. She's in town. She's traveled all over the country the past few months, and she's here in town for the Pride Week and all of that. And just wanted to give you a chance to kind of share a little bit of your story and how it's been, again, being part of the STP network.
Yeah. Actually, I want to thank you and Danny. And
yes, got to give a shout out to Danny. She's going to be on the next panel. So July.
She's awesome.
Danny D. Check her out. Danny D Fitness.
Yeah.
1. Go ahead.
So I've been doing photography for a really long time. And in 2018, I just kind of had a epiphany.
Yeah. Epiphany.
Is that how you say that?
Yep.
I've struggled with my body image my whole life. And I wanted to do a photo shoot that just had no Photoshop, no like filters. It was a straight on shot. And I was able to tell the world who I was just by how I looked. So the movie The Greatest Showman came out that year. And there was a song called This Is Me. And I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be like, this is me. This is the me, whatever. And I kept telling friends about it. And they were like, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that too. So we rented a studio in Nashville. And it started as a body positivity photo shoot really quickly, but it turned into a humanitarian photo shoot really quick. And the very first shoot had 45 people. We had Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. We had LGBTQ community, cerebral palsy, spina bifida. We had atheist, agnostic, a Christian pastor, a Muslim. It was literally like the best day ever. And I had said, I was like, wow, this would be really cool to make this mobile. Well, in 2020, I was turning 40. So I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do for my 40th birthday. I'm going to buy, heck yeah, March. Ooh, great 2020. Great 2020. So I bought the bus in 2019. It's a 40-foot school bus. It was a Williamson County wheelchair accessible school bus, and it was perfect for what I wanted to do. And I had $500 in my account when I went to look at it. And I was like, ooh, $500 does not buy your bus. And it certainly does not convert it. So beyond miracles, I'm telling you, if you believe in something and you have something that is like what you're supposed to do in life, doors open, miracles happen. And now I own this gorgeous bus that during 2020, when I was supposed to be touring the US, I ended up building it. And I built it into, there's a photo studio in the back and a living space in the front. And eventually I will have a studio set up inside there, like a podcast studio. There's definitely a studio in there, but I hadn't had power until about a month ago when I got a sponsorship for solar. I had power, but only when I was plugged in. Anyway, needless to say, April of 2021, I moved into this bus full time, and I've been touring the country ever since April 2021. So I've covered 30,000 miles. I did from the top of Washington to San Diego to Key West. I think it's over 40 podcasts on the road. Yeah. I don't really host them as much as I listen. Our mission statement is celebrating the resilience of the human spirit through the power of conversation and photography. It's a mouthful, but you really never know somebody till you have a conversation with them. The bus's name is Atticus, after the character in To Kill a Mockingbird. There's a line where he says basically that, like, you just never know somebody till you crawl under their skin. Obviously, you never know what it's going to be like to be somebody else, but if you sat down and had a conversation with somebody, you'd realize they have value as a human no matter who they are. So our vision, our overall vision, is that everybody has a chance to be seen, heard, valued, and loved, no matter who you are. If you're full of hate, probably not welcome so much in the bus, but you probably need a hug. So we'll get there. But so yeah, I have like some stickers and stuff for you guys too. But what I do is, the main part of what I do is it's a portrait. So I take a portrait of somebody, and we all have these assumptions of what people are just by looking at them. But then people get the chance to write their story in their own handwriting around their portrait. I send it to an iPad, and they write who they are and who they want to be seen as. Like, something that I tell everybody, I was like, what can't people know about you passing you in the grocery store? What can't people know about you just by seeing your face on Instagram? Let's get deep. Let's have conversations. So people can write anything from lyrics to words to whatever. And then the podcast, and why this was really hard to navigate how to do this on the road. But the podcast started because I had all these people coming to my house, and they were crying, and they were telling their story, and they were giving, like, just pouring their souls. And I was the only one hearing it. And I was like, other people need to hear this. So I think we're on like episode 105 or something like that. I've kind of slacked since March. It's been really hard to drive and navigate and do all the things and record a podcast. I do have a Vietnam vet that I just recorded on Memorial Day that's really good, that's coming up. And I want to get back to it and I need to talk to you about how you did mobile, all this fun stuff. But I will say you have been a huge advocate for what I have done. We've had a couple hard conversations. We've had a couple great conversations. And I think always having somebody at your back that is like, I believe in what you're doing. Like, he's not here just for the money. He's not here just because I don't even know, like, I get really emotional around people that are like, plus it's probably great beer. That Hefeweizen is really good. But like, anytime I have talked to you, you're like, let's go, let's do it. Let's like, I just feel better. And like, when it spread the positive and change the world and do good things happen to good people who care. And no matter what you end up doing, however big, every time I come back here, I swear, like, you've grown, you've gotten bigger, and you're doing more things. Don't forget about me. That's all I'm saying. But it's fun to know that somebody's back there going like, wow, I really actually, can I swear in here? Is it okay?
Yes.
I really actually give a shit about people, not just what, like, you really do have an intention to be the best person and thank you. So anyway,
hey,
you're awesome.
Hey, back at you. Talk about goals, man. You talk about goals. If I could take this on the road and just pile in Atticus with you, man, that is when.
You don't want to do it right now. It's really hot in there. I was going to bring the bus tonight, but I don't have air when I drive.
We're going to get the best HVAC company in the world to pimp that out.
I do.
Pimp your ride.
I do. I have plans. I want to have like at least 5 buses, probably 10.
Let's go.
Smaller ones with like kind of things like this all over, because I honestly can't get to everywhere that people want.
Man.
And I can't even keep up with the people who want to be included.
There's plenty of stories, right?
Yeah. I would love to partner with every single person that's here. It's been awesome.
Man, that's what it's about, y'all. That's what it's about. That's what this 3C method up here at the top is all about. It's been a long time coming to even where I can articulate how this could work or be something for everybody, on the stage, let alone for the masses, man. But dang, you got me in my feels, and that got me. I'm trying not to cry right now, but yeah, I remember the first time me and Annette talked. We did a joint back-to-back collaboration. Beautiful Strength Pod and the STP Pod, and yeah, right across the counter, right there in the kitchen, man. It was I'll never forget that. But that honestly, y'all, that's what this whole platform is about. That's what this mission has been about for over 10 years, and we have something really special now. It's kind of getting to that point where we need support. We need, underwriters. We need advertisers. We need supporters. We need people that really see the big picture vision. Like worst case scenario, if you advertise with us, you're going to support Beautiful Strength. You're going to support Waves of Awareness. You're going to support Unapologetically Me. You're going to support Locally Owned Murfreesboro. You're going to support the Family Pet Podcast, where people are strictly coming together, learning, telling their stories, sharing their why. It's a pretty special thing what it's turning into, and it does have that TV radio station type model where we are like, production is expensive. Producing this stuff is not cheap, and like being part of just being able to push record and having a studio space and having a mobile recording aspect and all the different aspects that have brought us to this point, man, is nothing but God's blessings, and just a lot of hard work and a lot of, again, figuring it out. So I know
that's one of the things that, as we were looking at doing this, and I had recorded our first episode, if you will, on our own. I did that at my home studio, and we were struggling like, do we really want to? Is it worth it to pay somebody? And I don't really know. And marketing and advertising for any small business is hard to quantitate. Like, what's the return on investment? And so when we were deciding what this was like, number one for me, it was just like, you know what? My brother is my co-host with me. We come down here, we record, we knock out 3, sometimes 4 episodes at one session time, and then we walk back to the office and get back to work. And Trent takes care of the editing, which, because we're so great, because I've listened to y'all's podcast.
Minimal.
Yeah,
it's
right.
minimal. Y'all are good, man.
Yeah, but that was not the best use of my time. Yes, I could do it, but for the value that we get for having it listed on all the platforms, the learning curve for me to get that done was going to be steep. And so it was worth it for me. Now, what I'm still trying to figure out is, have we received any new business because someone's listened to it? And we do ask every single yes, one. Yep. We're waiting for your next yeah. So we ask all of, like, when someone first comes to their first visit, we ask them how they heard about us. No one has yet mentioned the podcast, but that doesn't surprise me, because it's just one part of our overall marketing and advertising campaign. And like I said, it's ready. It's our library for education. That I'm not sending clients resources from another business to learn about what I'm recommending. We're creating it ourselves. And so I feel like I'm best friends with these two right here, because I am a locally owned Murfreesboro groupie. I love that podcast, because I do like listening about what's going on in Murfreesboro. But it's a great way to invite people in and get to know you if you're a business owner, and it just makes the conversations easier right from the very beginning. And so you build trust before you even meet the person. It's hard to assess a value to that, is what I'm trying to tell people, is that if you're on the fence, I would say do it, because, again, it checks all the boxes for a small business trying to promote yourself. We have had another local restaurant that went out of business not too long ago, or just announced down there, the sushi place. And I made a comment. I'm like, it's never on my mind. That place was never on my mind. And we talk about shopping local. People want to shop local. Yeah. But the problem is they don't know that the local businesses are out there, because by the time they open it and cash flow, and there's just not money left over for advertisement. And so having this type of a podcast, whether you do it on your own or pay somebody to help do it, promote it, or produce it, I think it's worth it to get started. Yeah. And the production value can come later. Yeah. If you want it to. I think you were mentioning, like your first one sound like you're in a echo chamber far away, right? But you still did it, and people can go back and listen to it. And what a great time capsule for you as a business owner to go back. One thing I like about Facebook is that when we first took over, I was teaching full time at Riverdale High School, and so I would teach full time, then go to the office and work until close, and then I'd go home and help put the kids to bed. Then I went back to the office to do my own remodel, because we were broke. And so at 1 o'clock in the morning, when I'm trying to stay awake, I would just make Facebook Live videos, right? Well, you can go back and watch them. They're hilarious.
Delirious, Michael?
Because I'm delirious. So everything from being under delirious.
Sorry, delirious
so
and
anyway,
delirious.
I don't want to hog
Man.
that's what I'm saying. Do it. Just start.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I feel fortunate enough because we had a guest. Like, how do you quantify that? So we had a guest, Rocket Shirts, and I was joking with him. He was asking how it was going. I says, well, it's not like they tell us if they get new business. He goes, well, I got new business. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah. Like he talked about how the population will go to another business, whether it's local or not, for 5 cents. They'll nickel and dime you for 5 cents, and then they'll just go to another place because, regardless of whether they can get it faster, get it sooner, or 5 cents cheaper. And that very day, another groupie, Kenzie Keene,
shouts to Kenzie,
messaged me and messaged him and was like, look, I'm that person that you're talking about. Like, I bought from you, and then I went to save, 5 more cents. It was more than 5 cents, but she said, through the farmer's agency where she works. And she said, it's just silly. So she went and ordered all of her shirts from him. And he was like, so, that in itself made it worth it. And I was like, but you didn't have to pay a dime. He goes, well, I know you did. And I said, well, and in all honesty, that's our passion, is growing that local business population. And if one podcast got somebody else's business or a new customer or whatever, that's a win. It's a huge win.
Absolutely. Again, that's what it's all about. The connection aspect, this network aspect, putting your name on something, in my opinion, that actually does have impact. I have this cheesy thing I've kind of created here lately. Your ROI is going to stand for really outstanding impact.
I like it.
So, really outstanding impact. Worst case scenario. There's a lot of people that can push record. There's a lot of people that can edit your podcast. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of ways to get your podcast out to the masses. But when you're part of this network, when you're part of this STP fam, it's bigger than that. And it's still just a tipping point, y'all. Like, this is, grateful for every single person in this room, but there's like 12 of y'all. so I'm not oblivious to that. But you got to start somewhere. And the fact that we're going to be doing these every third Tuesday of the month, man, y'all come out, get involved, support these podcasts, y'all. Like, there's a lot of power in putting your name on something that's supporting Waves of Awareness or Beautiful Strength or Family Pet or Locally Owned or Unapologetically Me or Spread the Positive. Like, we have stories, we have real reach that's, again, evergreen. Like Michael said, like, this stuff doesn't go away as long as our hosting's up, as long as we keep that Lipson bill paid. Your links are going to be live. Shouts to Lipson, man. They're the GOAT in my opinion. But there's a lot of things that you can be a part of right now that will, every time we push record, it will have a very impactful, very powerful reach. So I just encourage y'all. We got some folders up here. We got direct commercial, like and we got stickers, we got shirts, we got websites, we got everything. We got merch everywhere. So I just encourage y'all, if y'all have any interest in starting a pod, if you have any interest in supporting one of the shows, supporting the network in general, take a chance, man. Rip that Band-Aid off. Get outside of your comfort zone. You never grow when you're right there in your comfort zone. Like, that growth.
It's also for those. We're all creatives, but sometimes you hit a roadblock. And so I reached out to locally owned podcasts and said, "Hey, I'd love to be a guest." and I would love, if anybody out there has a business that they think could relate to pet healthcare, call me. We'll have you on as a guest.
There you go.
And if you're a locally owned, just call them and say, "Hey, I'd like to get on your list to be a guest." And just reach out to anyone that's got a podcast of their own and just let them know how you can bring value to their audience, and they'll welcome you in with open arms to be a guest on their show.
That's facts.
So just do that.
Yeah. And one.
Yep.
One more shameless plug. Table Talk with Mr. Harmon here. It has a very similar premise as Unapologetically Me, but just bring it to the table, man. If you got anything you want to discuss, bring it to the table. So between locally owned Murfreesboro, Table Talk, Spread the Positive, Family Pet Health, Unapologetically Me, Beautiful Strength, Waves of Awareness, any of these amazing shows that it takes a lot of work to put these things together, y'all, too. So the fact that they already have the groundwork done, man, we can literally just plug you in and make you look like community
Trent,
superstars.
where do people go to learn about all the people that are involved in STP?
Oh my gosh, Michael, thank you. Go to Spread the Positive. Man, hey, teamwork makes the dream work. But spreadthepositive.net. Again, we have these folders up front. I have cards on me. Just text me, call me, anything. Definitely want to say thank you again to Cedar Glade, Jonathan, the whole fam here. Man, listen to that crowd erupt. Wow. But yeah, Brandi, Staci, Annette, Marisa, and Michael. Just want to say thank y'all for taking the time, sharing your story, getting awkward with us up here on the stage, man. We're grateful for y'all, and just looking forward to keeping it all moving. So thank y'all so much. Oh, hang on. Does anybody have any questions? I didn't do this last time. Does anybody have questions at all?
Ooh, audience
Questions. Anybody? Ooh, how long? Who wants to go first? 6 months. Y'all are at episode 16.
We just released episode 16.
So
once a week. So whatever that is divided by 4. Yeah,
3.5-ish.
It's a blur.
On and off, like 2 years.
Yes, on and off 2 years, man. Push and record though. Staci?
I'll say we've been recording for almost a full year.
Yeah.
But we just launched in January. It took us a solid 6 months to figure our groove out.
Yeah. Understandable.
October 2019, but I still haven't figured it out.
I think we're still figuring it out too. So.
Yeah.
Time management, not my strong. I know you guys probably have like a particular day that you film, but what about outlining for episodes? Do you also count that in that one day, or do you do that like far ahead before you actually record an episode?
So the question is for the show notes or outline of the show. When do we work on it? The Family Pet Podcast is maybe like 5 minutes before we go. No. We have a Google sheet that we share with Trent, and we just we record twice a month, and we just have our recording date, the guest, the topic, and then the release date. And so we have recorded things that won't be released until the 4th of July. We recorded those months ago, so it's based on what people are dealing with around that time. But our show notes, we usually do those after we record because we'll say, oh, we'll put that in the show notes. And so we have to go back and listen to them to make sure that we I don't know why we don't take notes while we're recording. Maybe we should do that.
That's right. Oh, be present.
So we have a calendar booking link where people can book the dates, and they're blocked out with when we record, and we record 2 episodes every Wednesday morning, sometimes Monday evenings, depending on. And then our show notes are done pretty much in bulk, depending on how many we do.
We have a standard run of show that we provide to our guests, and so it just depends on if we have to pull information out of people or if they talk a lot.
That's
and
amazing.
we follow that run of show because it just makes all of our episodes pretty similar, but the stories are different. So, but yeah, the prep is
pretty minimal.
Maybe an hour if we like per episode. It just depends. But
a lot of that's on the front end.
Yeah,
I would kind of say a lot of that's on the front end when you say it. Like we got segments,
we started recording in December and we didn't release till like March. I think March was our first episode, so we're like 3 or 4 months ahead of time.
Yep, it's awesome.
Right now.
I'll say for us, I was super excited and I was super structured and overly organized.
Yeah.
And we learned quickly that
I think that's unique.
Couldn't do that. Yeah.
That's a unique situation.
My brain works that way, but not everybody else's does. And so we learned quickly that the outline and structure that I felt was needed wasn't.
Well,
and so it's just much more free flowing.
There's levels to that too. So I
Yes.
want to go ahead and say thank you, because like there's a lot of times that can definitely steer the ship in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a unique situation when you have co-hosts that are.
Yeah, so we've like pumped the brakes a whole lot on that, and
so now we just let it ride. Like,
yeah.
let's just talk. Let's
and
have some fun.
Our show notes are done after like we are able to listen to the draft, so that we can, like y'all said, make sure that everything that we said was going to be in the show notes are in the show notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would say like everything's a little bit. Everybody's podcast is a little different.
It's all.
That's what I was about to say. I totally just wing it.
I don't think Jonathan's ever planned 1 second.
Yeah.
It takes too much time to look down to see what you should be asking. So just let the conversation go where it goes.
Yeah. You have to do that. Like, you have to listen to what they say and then kind of pull off. You want to have a structure, but it's easier to just pay attention to what they're saying and then pull off from that.
Yeah, that's so true. Be present. Moment of wisdom.
I will say that sharing some information on the front end is pertinent.
Yes.
I forgot to share pertinent information with Trent one time. We had a family come in and they were talking about the early learning program, and I forgot to tell them that the foundation that they created was because their child had passed away. And
that was
so Trent learned that live
on the fly
in the recording.
Yeah.
So there is some prior information that has to happen, and we're learning.
I try to usually, because mine are controversial, I try to let them know what questions are going to be asked ahead of time. That way, if they're not comfortable, or at least to give them time to like make sure that they can communicate what they want to say and not be caught off guard, and then like not be able to communicate it the way they want to.
Right. Yeah, there's levels to it for sure. But yeah. Any other questions?
He has all the equipment. We just come for the show. That's why it's so awesome.
Well, when I originally did it, it was like $100 and something for the mic, but then like I used Audacity, and that was like a free software, and then to pay for Spotify was like it was pretty cheap actually. Like, it's not expensive, but you have to pay for, you either pay with time or you pay with like how it sounds.
Yeah. We purchased the domain name thefamilypetpodcast.com.
Yeah.
And I went ahead and got I got the Family Pet Health Podcast and all the ones that could be mistaken for it, and I direct all those back to our website. But you know, I just did like a 5-year on Namecheap.whatever it is, I guess. But anyway, it's a few $100 to get started. If you want to record at home, you can literally do it with your cell phone.
Yeah.
It's that easy. The entry level, the entry to podcasting is very low. Like, it doesn't cost much. When you start to get more, is when you're trying to make that sound better. So you're buying better, like a mixing board or a microphone or hiring a producer, and I highly recommend it. So but don't let cost be like a roadblock to getting started, because you can literally do it you go record in your car on your cell phone, or go into your closet and shut the closet door and record in there on your cell phone, and it sounds great.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But
I would say if you're interested in purchasing equipment and stuff, we were fortunate to have a grant to be able to pay for it, so we could do the.
You should.
We can talk later. So we were able to get grant dollars to be able to pay for our equipment, because we're going to teach those skills to the people that we support. But Trent was a fountain of knowledge. Like, he was like, here's the links. This is the kind of sound, like, mixing board. These are the mics. This is all the stuff, And so he was able to send me all those links so that I could have a starting place to start researching and seeing what exactly we needed to purchase. So.
If people are local in Murfreesboro, you can go to the Limbaugh Library. They have a full production studio there that you can get for free. Yeah. So, but you have to learn how to use it. But they do have an instructor there, I think, somewhere. But they have a recording studio there. Yep.
I got a comment though too, not of the library thing, but you can have all the best equipment you can buy, Like what's in my bus right now is like $3,000 worth of equipment, and I don't use it. And then he really loves it that I just stick a microphone in front of people, and sometimes it sounds like pure crap. So it's not the equipment, it's the knowledge base, and it's that like you can have like the most basic equipment possible. You could go out and spend $5,000 and have no idea what you're doing with it, and it's just like a camera. Like I do photography. Like somebody else could buy $10,000 worth of equipment too, and they don't know what to do with it. But if you have the person who understands, like, oh, here's how you take out a breath, or here's how you there's a really long pause. Do you know what an looks like, right?
Dude, I can see an from a mile away, bro.
So there's a lot of things like you can. I started my podcast with my cell phone and the Anchor app. Then I got a Yeti app or Yeti mic, and then I got a bunch of really big microphones, and now I have Rode mics and all that stuff. But it's the time and the effort. Like I know how to use all that stuff. But sometimes it's like the spontaneous thing or something, or having somebody that's like, hey, let me help you with the back end of that. You do you and what you're good at and talk to people, and somebody else can actually, I'm speaking to myself at this moment too. So don't worry.
Look,
I'm literally to myself.
It's music to my ears.
Yeah. But it's not always just the equipment. It's one, do you have a message to say that's important that people want to hear? And are you passionate about it? Get it out there no matter how you can do it, whether it's recording it in your car or going to a big studio. But just know it's not always the equipment. It's the people that can help you do it too.
Yeah, I always say we can help with as much or as little of the process as you need. And there's a lot of this stuff we can literally just walk you through, no charge, no nothing. Would love to. Yes, I can say that. But time is money, but also getting your message out is really important too. So again, that's the tagline. We can help with as much or as little of the process as you need. So there's a massive learning curve no matter what. I'll echo what everybody else said back in January 2018 when I finally bit the bullet, and someone or a podcast I got hooked on kept saying it every time at the end of the episode. They're like, if there's anything you're passionate about, start a podcast about it. And I'm the king of awkward. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. The thing I did was commit to getting one out a week for a whole year. And that's literally what made me do it. And I'm so glad I did. So moral of the story is just rip that Band-Aid off, take a chance. I can't tell you how much fun it is. Like, everybody on this stage, I know y'all can relate to what I'm saying. Like, there's nothing like just having those conversations you can go back on. You know, the STP pod is literally just for my mental health. You know, full disclosure, I literally go around. When I started, I was literally going around to anybody that was doing, you know, something that I considered going right. That's the mission of the whole thing, bringing light to what's going right. And, you know, there's so much power in those conversations. I go back and listen to them all the time. My guy, Gabe Frazier, just walking in the building, a little beach trip. Early on, I think it was episode 8. That's so funny, man. Episode 8, and we're just at the beach, and it's three of my closest friends to this day, and we can go back and laugh hysterically about how painfully bad that podcast actually is. But and Gabe's Yeti right beside the microphone, just clank, 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 clank. But we'll wrap it up, y'all. I know we're getting close to being done with everything, but I'm so thankful for everyone that's here, everyone that took the time to be on the panel, and everybody that believes in this mission, man. It's just the tip of the iceberg, and it's, you know, going on 12 years into this crazy idea and this podcast studio and being able to help people navigate this process is something I don't take lightly, and something that is in my soul and something that I really believe in. So again, if you have any interest in doing a pod, supporting a pod, or being part of STP in any way, I just want to encourage y'all to come through, be a part of it, because it's really fun. So thank you for being here.